Welcome to Bethel Online Education Hub. Learn anytime, anywhere. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Let's learn together, the Bethel way.
Hello everyone. I hope you're all ready for another exciting and eye-opening lesson. Today, we're diving deep into some of the most powerful dramatic natural forces on our planet, geologic processes. These include earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and landslides. While they are fascinating and even eye-inspiring to study, they are also incredibly dangerous and we can have devastating effects on people, communities, and ecosystem. These events are not just random or rare. They are the result of dramatic processes happening beneath and on the surface of the earth. These processes that were constantly shaping and reshaping our world. Mountain rise, valleys sink, islands are born, and landscape are transformed. But this is natural beauty comes risk. So, why should we study these hazards? We study these hazards because understanding them can save lives. Knowing how they occur, where they are likely to happen, and how to respond appropriately during emergencies can make all difference in reducing injury, loss of life, and damage to property. In this lesson, we will discover what causes earthquake, volcanoes, and landslide. Learn about the areas most prone to these hazards, understanding their impact on human and environment. And most important is to find out what we can do to prepare for and stay safe during this event. Now let's get started with the first major geologic process, which is the earthquakes. Earthquakes are sudden and soft, often violent shaking of the Earth's surface. They occur when energy has built up with the Earth's crust is suddenly released. This energy is stored in rocks beneath the surface, particularly along faults, fractures in the Earth where movement occurs. Most earthquakes happen because of the movement of the tectonic plates, large rigid piece of Earth's outer shell. These plates are constantly moving, but sometimes they get stuck at their edge due to friction. As the plates continue to push or pull, stress builds up. When the stress becomes too great, the rocks suddenly break or slip, releasing energy in the form of seismic waves. This is what causes the ground to shake. The point inside the earth where the earthquake starts is called the focus, and the point directly above it on the surface is called epicenter. The closer you are to the epicenter, the stronger the shaking usually feel. While earthquakes are natural parts of the Earth's geologic activity, they can lead to serious hazards such as building collapses, landslide, fires, and even tsunamis, especially in the areas near active faults. Where and how do earthquakes occur? Most earthquakes occur along fault lines, which the fractures in the Earth's crust where the tectonic plates meet. So, yung earthquake is nangyayari siya along the fault lines, na kung saan yung mga fractures ng ating earth crust na kung saan nagkikita ang tectonic plates. These regions are zones of intense stress due to the constant movement of plates pushing, pulling, or sliding past one another. Here are some key terms to understand. Focus. First is focus or hypocenter. This is the underground point where the earthquakes originate. It's the exact location within the Earth where rock first break and release energy. So, yung focus, ito yung underground point na kung saan nagmumula ang earthquakes. At dito, nagpa-first break ang rocks and nagre-release ng energy. Next is the epicenter. Epicenter located directly above the focus on the Earth's surface. The epicenter is the point where the effects of earthquakes are usually felt the stronger, especially the shaking. So, yung epicenter is malolocate siya above the focus of the Earth's surface. So, the epicenter, ito yung dito mo pinaka mararamdaman yung strongest na pagyanig ng ating lupa. Next, we have magnitude. Magnitude is the measures strength or amount of energy released during an earthquake. So, yung magnitude, ito yung amount release energy or strength. Ito yung lakas ng ating earthquakes. So, scientists use instrument called seismograph to detect and record seismic wave. So, yung mga scientists, gumamit sila ng instrument na tinatawag na seismograph para ma-detect at ma-record ang mga seismic waves. We also have the Richter scale. The Richter scale was one of the earliest tools used to measure magnitude. Next, today is the moment magnitude scale is more commonly used because it's more accurate for large earthquake. Next is the aftershock. Aftershock are smaller earthquakes that occur in the same area after the main quake. Aftershock happen as the Earth's crust continue to adjust to change caused by the initial event. Some can be strong enough to cause additional damage. So, aftershock. So, alam naman natin na kapag nagkaroon ng earthquake, merong aftershock pagkatapos nun. So, yung aftershock, ito yung smaller earthquakes. Pero pero minsan nakakadagdag to ng kahit mahina, nakakadagdag to ng additional damage. Now, let's talk about the effects of an earthquake. Earthquakes can cause a wide range of destructive effects depending on their strength, depth, and location. These impacts may occur immediately or as secondary hazards and can result in devastating consequences for people and environment. So, for example, ng effects of earthquake is ground shaking, surface rupture, landslides, tsunamis, building damage, and losses of lives. Let's talk about ground shaking. Ground shaking is the most immediate and widespread effect of an earthquake. It's happened when seismic waves travel through the Earth's crust, causing the ground to move. Ground shaking can cause building, roads, and bridges to crack, tilt, or collapse. It often leads to panic and injuries, especially in a crowded or unprepared areas. The, sev- the severity depends on factors such as earthquake's magnitude, depth, and the type of the ground material. Next effects of earthquakes is surface rupture. Surface ruptures occurs when the movement along the faults break through the Earth's surface. This causes the ground to visibly crack or shift. Surface rupture can tear apart roads, pipelines, buildings, and fence built across the fault line. It's often damage permanent and difficult to repair. The areas directly on fault line are especially vulnerable. Now let's proceed to landslide, another earthquake's effect. Landslides occurs in mountains or slope areas. Earthquake can trigger landslide by shaking loose soil and rocks. Landslide can bury homes, roads, and people, especially unstable or deforested area. May landslide may also block rivers and create temporary dams, which could later burst and cause flooding. Next is often delay rescue operation due to block or unsafe routes. Next is the tsunami. Tsunamis are large, powerful ocean waves most commonly caused by underwater earthquakes. When an earthquake occurs beneath the ocean floor, the sudden movement of tectonic plates can displace a large volume of water, sending waves radiating outwards at high speed. These waves can travel across entire ocean basins at speed up to 800 km per hour. Although they may be barely noticeable in deep water, as the waves approach shallow coastal areas, they slow down but grow dramatically in height, turning into a series of massive crashing waves. Impact of tsunamis. Tsunamis can flood and destroy coastal towns and cities, sweeping away homes, buildings, vehicles, and anything in their path. Tsunami often cause massive loss of life, especially in areas with little or no early warnings. Tsunami may lead a long-term environmental damage such as saltwater contamination of fresh water, supply, and soil. Tsunami are among the most dangerous earthquake-related hazards, which is why tsunami warning system and evacuation plans are critical in coastal regions located near tectonic plate boundaries. We also have fires, an effect of an earthquake. Earthquake can also lead to widespread fires, especially in urban areas with dense infrastructure. Strong shaking can break glass lines, power lines, and fuel tanks, which may ignite fires. Fallen buildings and damaged roads can block firefighters and emergency responders from reaching the area quickly. Fires can spread rapidly, causing additional destruction after the initial earthquake. Next is liquefaction. Liquefaction occurs in areas with loose water saturated soil. During intense ground shaking, the soil can temporarily lose its strength and behave like liquid. Liquefaction can cause the ground to swell, shift, or sink, severely affecting structures on the top. Buildings may tilt, sink, or collapse, even if they were structurally sound. Liquefaction is common in coastal and river areas with soft, water-lodged soil. And the last effect of earthquakes is human economic loss. Earthquake can result in significant human suffering and financial disruption. It can cause injuries and loss of life, especially in densely populated or poorly prepared areas. It can lead to destruction of homes, schools, hospitals, and critical infrastructure. It can cause major economic disruption, including the closure of business, job losses, and interruption in transportation, education, and healthcare services. Understanding this hazard and their potential impact is essential for preparing communities, improving emergency responses, and reducing future risk. Now, let's identify earthquake prone areas. Earthquakes do not occur randomly. They are most common in regions located near fault lines or tectonic plates boundaries. This area experience regular tectonic activity, making them more likely to experience earthquakes. Areas in Pacific Ring of Fire. The Pacific Ring of Fire is a horseshoe-shaped zone surrounding the Pacific Zone. It is known for its frequent earthquakes, volcanic eruption, and active fault line. About 75% of the world's active volcanoes and 90% of earthquakes occur in this region, making it one of the most seismically active zones on Earth. Countries included in this zone are Philippines, Japan, Indonesia, Chile, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Alaska, western coast of North and South America. Urban areas built on a soft or loose soil. Even regions not located near a fault line can be vulnerable to earthquakes if they are built on a soft, loose, or water saturated soils. This ground condition can amplify shaking and cause liquefaction, where the ground behaves like liquid. Urban areas with reclaimed land or deltas are particularly at risk. Building may tilt, sink, or collapse even during moderate earthquakes. Cities need proper geotechnical assessment and earthquake-resistant design to reduce risk. Understanding the location of earthquake-prone zone and soil condition helps governments, scientists, and communities assess risk, improve infrastructure planning, and implement safety measures to reduce the impact of earthquakes. After we learn the hazards and areas prone to earthquakes, now let's talk about practical ways to cope with earthquakes. Being prepared before an earthquake strike can save lives and reduce the risk of serious injuries or property damage. Here are the key steps individuals and family can take to get ready. Before an earthquake, prepare. First is know your risk. Identify whether your home's school, or workplace is in an earthquake prone areas or near a fault line. Next is create a family emergency plan. Make sure everyone in your household knows what to do during and after an earthquake. Choose unsafe meeting point and emergency contacts. Next is prepare a go bag. Pack essential items in a backpack like water, non-perishable foods, flashlight, batteries, first aid kits, whistle, personal documents, and extra clothes. Next is secure your homes. Anchor heavy furniture and appliances to walls. Secure breakable items and check for structural vulnerabilities. Next is join earthquake drills. Participate in school or community drills to build awareness and response skill. Next is practice duck, cover, and hold regularly. Train yourself to immediately get under a sturdy table or desk, cover your head and neck, and hold until the shaking stops. During an earthquake, act quickly. Stay calm, don't panic. Clear thinking can save your life and help those around you. If in outdoors, duck, cover, and hold. Get under a sturdy table or desk, cover your head and neck, and hold on. Stay away from windows, glass, mirrors, and heavy objects that could fall. Do not use elevators. Stay indoors until shaking stops. If in outdoors, move to an open area away from buildings, trees, power lines, and street lights. Stay there until shaking stops. If inside a vehicle, pull over to a safe spot away from overpasses, bridges, or tunnels. Stay inside the vehicle until the shaking stops. After an earthquake, stay safe. Check for injuries and give first aid. Help yourself and others. Call for medical help if necessary. Expect aftershock. Be alert for smaller earthquakes following the main shock. This can still cause damage. Next is listen to an official news or updates. Use a battery-powered radio, phone, or other reliable sources to get information and instruction from authorities. Next is avoid entering damaged building. Do not go back inside until has been declared safe. Building may collapse from hidden structural damage. Preparedness, quick action, and staying calm before, during, and after an earthquake can help protect lives and reduce damage. Always be ready. And now, let's proceed to another endogenic process and its hazards, which is the volcanic eruption. Volcanic eruption is the release of magma, ash, and gases from beneath the surface Earth. This natural event occurs when pressure builds-ups inside the Earth crust due to the movement of tectonic plates or accumulating of magma. When the pressure becomes too great, it spurs still away to the surface, often explosively or through lava flows. Lava is a molten rock stored beneath the surface of the earth. When it reaches the surface, it's called lava. Ashes. Ashes is fine particles of pulverized rock. that can rise high into the atmosphere and travel far distance. Ash can damage lungs, machinery, crops, and infrastructure. Volcanic gases, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and others. These gases can be harmful to the health and contribute to climate's effect. Causes of volcanic eruption. Movement of tectonic plates, especially at the convergent and divergent boundaries. Accumulating of magma in a magma chamber increase pressure. Weak points or crack in Earth's crust provide a path for magma to escape. Hazards of volcanic eruptions. First is lava flows. Lava flows streams of molten rocks that destroy everything in their path, but usually move slowly enough for people to escape. Next is ashfall. Ashfall is volcanic ash can blanket areas, damaging buildings, crops, and vehicles, and posing serious health risks when inhaled. Next is pyroclastic flows. Fast-moving current of hot gas and volcanic materials that travels down the slopes of a volcano. A deadly spread and temperatures. Next is the lahar or volcanic mud flows. Mixtures of volcanic derivatives and water that flows like wet cement, burying everything in their path. Next is volcanic gases. Emission like sulfur dioxide can cause respiratory problems, acid rains, and environmental damages. Next is earthquake and landslide. Often accompany eruption, triggering ground shaking and collapse of unstable slopes. Now let's talk about volcanic eruption prone areas. Volcanic Volcanoes are most commonly found along tectonic plates boundaries, especially in the region of intense geologic activity. One of the most well-known zones is the Pacific Ring of Fire, a horseshoe-shaped belt encircling the Pacific Ocean. This area contains about 75% of world's active and dominant volcanoes and is also highly prone to earthquakes. Example of volcanic eruption-prone areas included Philippines, located on the Pacific Ring of Fire with numerous active volcanoes including Mayon Volcano in Albay, Taal Volcanoes in Batangas, Mount Pinatubo in Zambales, Canlaon Volcano in Negros, and Bulusan Volcano in Sorsogon. Next is Japan. Frequently experienced volcanic eruption due to its location on multiple converging tectonic plates. Next is Indonesia, home over 100 active volcanoes, including Krakatoa and Mount Merapi. Next is Chile, hosts many active volcanoes along Andes Mountain. Next is Alaska, USA. Contains numerous volcanoes along Aleutian Island. Last is New Zealand. Has both volcanic and geothermal activity due to its position on the boundary of the Australian and Pacific plates. Now, let's talk about practical ways to cope with volcanic eruption. First is before an eruption, know if you live near an active volcano. Stay informed about nearby volcanoes and their activity levels. Next is prepare an emergency go bag. Include essentials like water, foods, flashlight, batteries, radio, first aid kit, and important document. Third is join local drills and listen to PBOX update. Participate in community preparedness activities and monitor advisories from local authorities. Fourth is prepare evacuation routes. Identify safe paths and nearest evacuation center. Make sure all family members are familiar with the plan. During an eruption, all you have to do is follow evacuation order immediately. Leave the area if authorities advise it. Don't delay. Next is wear mask or damp clothes. Protect your nose and mouth from inhaling ash particles. Third is stay indoors. If evacuation isn't required, remain inside to reduce ash exposure. Next is close all doors and windows. Seal your home to prevent ash from entering. Next is avoid rivers and streams. This may carry fast-moving lahars that can be deadly. After an eruption, wait for the official clear signal. Only return home when authorities confirm it is safe. Clean ash safely. Use a damp clothes or broom. Wear a mask and goggles to protect yourselves. Check water sources for contamination. Avoid using tap water until it has been declared safe. Stay updated. Follow news reports and bulletins from PBOX and other official agencies. Volcanic eruptions are powerful geologic processes that shape the Earth's surface but also present serious hazard to life, property, and the environment. Understanding this danger and knowing how to prepare helps community stay safe and respond more effectively. Now, let's talk about the last endogenic hazards, which is landslide. Landslide is a rapid or gradual downward movement of a mass of rock, soil, and the ribs along a slope due to the force of gravity. Landslide can vary in speed and scale, from slow soil creep to sudden and destructive rock falls. They often occur as a result of natural events such as heavy rainfalls, earthquakes, and volcanic eruption. But they can also be triggered by human activities like deforestation, mining, road construction, and improper land use. Some common cause of landslide includes intense or prolonged rainfall. Water weakens the soil, making it more likely to slide. Earthquake. Ground shaking can stabilize slope and trigger sudden movement. Next is volcanic activity. Eruption can melt snow and ice or shaken the ground, leading to landslide. Last is slope modification by human. Cutting into hillsides or removing vegetation increase the risk. Landslide pose serious risk to people, homes, roads, and infrastructure, especially in mountains and hilly regions. They can block river and causes flooding, bury entire communities, and disrupt transportation and communication. Understanding the causes and warning signs of landslide is essential for reducing their impact and ensuring safety in vulnerable areas. Now, let's talk about the hazards of landslide. The first is burial or destruction of property. Homes, buildings, and other structure in the path of landslide can be buried or severely damaged. Next is loss of life and injury. Sudden landslide can cause fatalities or serious injury to people caught in their path. Next is blockage, road and transportation. Roads and highways may become impassable, delaying emergency responses and isolating communities. Next is river blockage and flooding. Landslide can dam rivers, leading to upstream flooding or sudden downstream flooding if the natural dams break. Next is damage to agriculture. Croplands, irrigation system, and farmland infrastructure can be buried or rendered unusable. Now, let's identify landslide prone areas. First is steep slope and mountain areas. Gravity has a stronger pull on loose materials. Next is places with loose, weak, or water-saturated soil. These are more unstable and prone to movement. Next is areas with frequent heavy rainfall. Saturated ground increase the chance of landslide. Next is location near fault lines or earthquake prone zone. Ground shaking can trigger landslide. Next is near river banks, cliffs, and road cuts. These areas are naturally unstable. Next is region with past landslide incident. Past movement is a strong indicator of future risk. Next, let's talk about human activities that trigger or worsen landslide. The first is illegal logging and deforestation. Removing vegetation exposes soils and weakens slope stability. Next is mining and quarrying. Excavation can destabilize hillside and loosen materials. Next is poor land use planning. Building structures in high-risk zone increase vulnerability. Next is improper drainage system. Poor water management can lead to soil saturation and erosion. Last is overgazing or farming on steep slope. Reduces root system can that hold soils together, increase erosion's risk. And now, let's talk about practical ways to cope with landslide. Before a landslide, know if you live in a landslide-prone area. Be aware of local hazards and geological risks. Next is plant trees and maintain vegetation on slope. Root helps soil in place. Avoiding building on steep slopes on or near known landslide zone. Choose safe construction site. And last is watch for warning signs. Look for cracks in a wall or ground, leaning trees or poles, bulging ground, or unusual sounds like rumbling. During landslide, evacuate immediately. Leave the area if warning signs appear or if advised by authorities. Next is stay away from falling rocks or debris. Do not enter the landslide path. Next is move to higher, stable ground. Avoid low-lying or unstable areas. Last is listen to local disaster alerts. Follow guidelines from NDRRMC or barangay officials. After a landslide, wait for the area to be declared safe before returning. Do not re-enter landslide zone until authorities confirm it is safe. Next is report damaged roads or blocked rivers. Alert local authorities about hazards to prevent further incidents of flooding. Next is help in cleanup and replanting vegetation. Assist in communities' recovery and reduce the risk of future slides by stabilizing the soil. Ways to lessen landslide occurrence in the community. First is reforestation and tree planting. Tree roots help hold the soil in place and absorb excess rainwaters, which help prevent erosion and landslide. Next is building retaining walls or terraces. This structure reduces the steepness of slopes, helping to stabilize soils and prevent it from sliding downhill. Next is proper drainage system. Well-designed drainage system safely divert rainwater away from slopes, reducing water building up that can trigger landslide. Next is community education awareness. Educating residents about landslide risk, early warning signs, and preventive actions empowers communities to take proactive safety measures. Next is strict regulation of land use. Enforcing laws that prohibit illegal logging, quarrying, and construction in hazard-prone areas help reduce human in- induced landslide risk. Last is landslide monitoring and early warning system. Government agencies and local officials can monitor ground movement using sensor and issue early warnings or evacuation orders to reduce casualties and property damage.